Hi, this is Brittany for Brittany Sims. My Instagram handle. My Facebook is Brittany Myers. Not that big of a deal, but you know, if you want to go and hit like, follow, whatever, subscribe. I am doing a marker review for the Azure markers. I actually found these markers at Walmart. They didn't cost me no more than $10, but and I was wanting to rate the quality, the color selection, and how well that they blended, because they are a artist marker. It does come with, I believe, if I count them right, there's 13, including the blender pen, or the blender marker. The blender marker is straight alcohol in the marker. These other ones have like a color to it, so when you use the blender marker, it's going to cause the marker either to lose some of the saturation. The one thing I didn't really favor much on these is the fact that they do come with a broad and a tip, small tip. They're dual tip, which is good. It's great. I just prefer the brush method, or the brush nib, as far as the Copics. And in this video, I am comparing the Copic markers because they do offer that brush nib. I will do other videos as well. These ones, I will say, the top of the marker, it is not labeled like a Copic. It's a little different, and I will say the one thing I do like about these ones is that they are triangular shaped versus the Copics, which are oval, or the Copic sketch is what I have. So it's oval shaped. And right here I am doing a color test to see what the color looks like and if it looks like the cap. Not all of them did, especially the orange, and I believe the green. Yeah, it was the orange, and I think it was, actually, I want to say it was probably the light blue. I didn't feel like those matched. I felt like that could have been like a really light yellow-orange color for the orange. But overall, the saturation of color in the paper, it was brilliant. Like, it is very vibrant, as you can tell. I have very low-quality lighting at this moment, and I am like filming on my phone, so the color saturation is actually, in my opinion, I think it's very bright. Unfortunately, they don't come with very much color choice, and I do apologize if you hear that chewing in the background. It's my dog. He has this obsession with chewing on plastic for some reason, and he's making what seems like a lot of noise to me. So, without further ado, these one, I've done the color saturation test and how well they aligned with the caps and stuff, just so that way it shows people what they color like and what they look like when they are on paper. I am actually using cardstock, and I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's a cardstock that you find at Walmart, and I believe it's 110-pound paper. For those of you guys that don't know paper talk, if you have copy paper and this cardstock is like 20 times thicker, and it holds marker so much better. And it doesn't, well, I can't say it doesn't bleed through, because these markers did bleed through when I attempted to use the blender marker. So that's kind of where I was a little turned off, is the fact that they did bleed through so much. Trying to think of any other points that I could think of right off the bat. I should have wrote my stuff down. And right here I am getting distracted, unfortunately. So, later on, I do show the the way it goes from light to dark, or a lighter marker to a darker marker. I think I showed the green ones, and I also compared them to the closest ones that I could find that were of the Copic brand, so that way it shows what it looks like going from the variances. And I tried to find the closest purple to this one just to show how it colors. And I did use a broad tip for the Copic to kind of as a comparison. And I think, see, like for me, I'm always trying to look for the cheapest. Unfortunately, this brand does not offer refills. They do have other like sets. The one that I got was the basic set. I believe they come in like a nature, a skin tone. I'm trying to think of the other ones that I found, but they were all, in my opinion, expensive compared to the $10 that I paid for at Walmart for just the basics. And so here's where I am coloring from light to dark with the markers, or dark to light, whatever, just to show how well it blends. And I do kind of like a little swirling motion to help. And obviously you could tell it's not as great as I wanted it to be, because you could tell the difference between where it's light and dark, but then you have this really big dark splotch right in the center. So that, and this is where I'm doing the comparison for the Copics. And I am using the broad tip for the Copics just to kind of give that extra comparison. And you can tell that when I use the Copics, it blends a little bit more seamlessly. And it doesn't have such a hard transition, if that makes sense. And again, I'm right now using what they call the tip-to-tip method. I take one tip to the other tip and I put them together. Mainly the darker one goes on top and the lighter one goes on the bottom. So that way when you go to blend them, it should be a seamless effect. And then you're just going from dark to light, and when it hits that light, it's going to take all the ink that you added to it down, and it's just gonna like fade, if that makes sense. And I'm doing the tip-to-tip method for the Copics. Yeah. Or I did the tip-to-tip method for the Copics just a minute ago. I don't remember. But you can tell, which one's which. I'm doing a swirling motion with the blender pen to kind of add, to see if it would add anything as far as, or change anything for the marker variation. So, and there you have it. You have the Azure blendable professional artist markers, and that would be all. And thank you for watching. Hit subscribe, like, share with your friends, family.